Welcome to D7R TV. Today you're probably glad that we are not doing a Clio video, and in fact we're only doing this video because we did the similar job a couple of weeks ago and it was a pig. So we thought it'd be nice to do a video because we've had a request to do another one of these jobs, and that is change the rear subframe on an Audi. And this one's a TT. The last one we did was an S3, but the rear subframes on Audi TTs, Quattros and S3 Quattros, they rot. So you probably find that when you go to an MOT station, they'll do their checks and find out that you've got a rotten rear subframe. So today we're going to do you guys a favour. I've got Colin involved like I did the last time, and yeah, let's have a look at what we got to do. Right, so here we have it. Say hello to the camera, Colin. You know you love it.
Hello.
Welcome back to the channel. So here we have an Audi TT. Is it 8P, 8L or something? I don't bloody know. I don't know the...
The 8P was the
S3's
Audi
8P.
A3, yeah.
Right, so here's the issues you have. The subframes, they rot. I don't know if that one's split. Yeah, that one's split, and this one's starting to split. They just rot out. They're a poor design. They're made of steel, and you're probably thinking, what we're going to do with that? Well, the main thing we do is convert it to an aluminium one. And if it's anything, well, this one definitely is. I'm waffling a little bit because it's been a while. When you buy one of these off the internet, eBay, marketplace, whatnot, they tend to butcher them a bit. So they either cut the brake lines off. This guy has cut the rear anti-roll bar, which is a really nice gesture from him. So that's no use to us. So we've got to try and make that work. And it's bare.
I've also just noticed they've shared the differential mounting bolt in the actual holder.
Yeah, so they've cut the mounting bolt for the rear diff. They've, I think these are your Zenon adjusters. Yeah, they've just literally cut that off. Cut the ABS sensors off. So we've basically got to swap everything we can off the actual TT. Other thing as well, there's slightly different design. This has got the braces because it's obviously a cabriolet. So we've got to get creative because the rear of the new one doesn't have any mounting points for those braces. I don't know what these are actually off. Do you have any idea?
I believe this is actually off a TT, to be fair, but it's off a hardtop version.
You reckon it's an hardtop TT, do you?
Yeah, because
if it would have been a hardtop TT, wouldn't it be the same steel one as this one?
No, the one we put on the S3 the other day, the lad brought, and it was specifically for a TT.
Right, okay.
I believe all it is, the cabriolet version obviously has the extra support bars to stop the sway on the rear end when the roof's down. Unfortunately, because this one comes, the aluminium comes as a two-piece, we're missing the bracketing point for the bar, so we're gonna have to get a bit creative there.
Well, we're missing the bolts for the bar, so we had to go to a local supplier and go and get some bolts which will work in these to mount this up, which are, we're going to be using these. So if you end up short like we are, I'll open it upside down. These are M10 by 100 mil or 100 millimeter bolts. You're probably also going to need some drop links because they usually need cutting off. And the part number for that is LS0109, and that's the correct ones for this car.
That's the BJ product, that is.
It's a BJ product. You're probably going to need some brake fluid because we're going to take brake lines off. We've got brake line because the last one, they cut the brake lines off. We weren't too sure whether they'd done it on this one. And you don't know if anything's going to split, so it's always good to have a backup plan. We've also got the brake fittings as well. So yeah. Right, so what's the plan then, Carl?
Plan is, first of all, we need to take the cabriolet rear bracing section off it, because it obviously sits underneath the exhaust section. Then we need to take the exhaust section off.
Which is here.
From there.
Which should be 230mm bolts, and I know that they're going to snap.
Yeah, always handy to have one spare, a spare sleeve, because as you can imagine, it's an old vehicle. It's not going to be the cleanest. But we're going to take the back rear exhaust section off it, just to actually get from underneath all our subframe point. Then we're going to have to disconnect the prop shaft. I've already been around and pre-done a few removals just on lighter stuff. Handbrake cables, ABS sensor looms, and just little bits and pieces that I don't want to snag whilst taking them out. There is a plug on the top of the differential, which is really hard to get your hand onto and get it. So we'll have to lower the actual subframe down very slightly so I can get my hand over the top and disconnect the plug. A lot easier than trying to force my hand up into the little gap. And then we'll start to undo the main bolting points. And
they are, if I remember, 18mm?
18mm on the main bolting points. So you've got 4 18mm mains.
I'll get the camera. So we'll take you with us so we can see what we're doing. So we've got, where are we? So we've got 2 at the back, 2 in the centre. 1 here, 1 there. And then we're going to disconnect the rear trailing arm cups that are here. Yeah. And bring the trailing arm cups down. So we're going to bring the whole unit out as one complete unit originally. Were they 16s?
These, we had issues with these on the last one because they'd rotted away so much. They was a 16, but we was having to get creative with 15s and absolute everything last time to actually get them out. So hopefully the 16 will be good enough to get them out this time and not cause us too much issues. The rear bar is held into place by the, I believe they're the size 10 VW sockets, which are the multi-splines. And we've got 2, what I believe is 16s at the very edge, which holds the actual bracket itself into place as well. And that's what we've got to totally recreate. There's no bolting points for these on the new one. And the aluminium bracket that goes underneath will drop far too low. So the bracket will be sort of down here. So we've got to now implement reattaching these sway bars back to a point that isn't originally there on that setup.
Things first, what I'm going to say is you're going to have to be very confident to do this job, and it's quite a dangerous job, especially if you're working on a ramp on the floor. You haven't got the chance of the car dropping off your jack or whatever, or you may have, but it ain't going to drop as far as it is off the ramp. So we're going to strap this car down to the ramp. We've also put a wheel in the boot, and we're just trying to make the weight distribution a little bit better, because this is a VR6 car and it's also an auto, so the front end is very heavy and we don't want the car seesawing and dropping out the sky. So you need a couple of people to do this, because even the aluminium subframe is significantly heavier than most other subframes you're going to work on. The steel subframes are really, really heavy, and you need some jack stands if you're using a ramp, and you're also going to need to plinth the car up somehow. And I've got a plinth, so the car can't fall forward. Right, so we've got our V-tool, the Audi spline tool, and we're going to start off by taking these rear braces off. So let's get to it.
But you saw beyond that. Yeah, you gave me a chance. Now you're dancing at a party with somebody, and he won't let you go. You'll go home with someone new.
We're going to undo this sleeve, which joins the midsection of the exhaust to the rear, because you need to take the rear of the exhaust off. These are probably going to snap, but don't panic. You can just chuck some more, either, I think they're M8s, some M8 a nut and bolt through there and it should be jobs are good. Snapped. Again.
Yeah, I guess you moved on. It's been a long time since we talked. Wish I could, but I already had my shot. 'Cause now you're dancing at a party with somebody and he won't let you go. You'll go home with someone new while I'm sleeping.
Right, so this sleeve's undone. I'm gonna have to cut this with a grinder and replace the bolt so the sleeve can come out. Got a hanger tool. You can get these off eBay or Amazon for about 12 to 15 quid. And just gonna get the exhaust hanger off. Colin's already undone the rear brackets or mounts, and we're just gonna drop the rear section.
Got one more hanger here, Carl. It's just sat there, mate.
Where?
Which is why it's tilting. Take the pressure off it again. Down there. Right, okay, we can start to slide her back now. There we go. Just bring her right down now. Right, ready?
With the exhaust off, I just put some M8 by 30 mil bolts through with some flange nuts. So that'll tighten up nice and get the exhaust back on properly.
Right, we're going to take the springs out now. We want to release as much of the pressure off when we're actually lowering the subframe down. So we're just going to remove the back springs out of location, which then stops the springs forcing jacks down too fast for us to be able to work. Like I said, there is a very awkward wiring loom at the top there, which doesn't have much give to it. So the last thing I want is springs forcing the subframe down and overextending the cable so it snaps, which is going to cause us a lot of issues.
Right, so now it's time to remove the prop, which is going to be a 10mm multi-sided socket and a crowbar.
Yeah.
There's 4 of these, isn't there?
There's 3.
3.
So there's 6 in total. 3 go back to front, just to hold the dampener into place. Get that out.
Oh, auto car.
Automatic, isn't it? So yeah, that's one thing we've got to overcome. Right, let's try and get onto this top one.
I don't need the crowbar then, because it's already locked in it. You can get to that one now.
Yeah. Last time obviously we was dealing with the manual, so a bit different. It was free spinning. Hold them for us a minute, Carl.
Try and put all your bolts in a box as well so you don't lose anything, because I guarantee you're going to lose something and you're going to need it. I wonder where it's gone.
second one.
Third.
Luckily for us, it's landed so we can get on all three. With it being automatic, its prop shaft is locked up.
Yeah. Seeing if it's got a bearing in the middle. I don't think it has, does it?
No, it's just got the central spline. There's the third one. Now, we should now be able to
pry it off.
Start to come back with it a little bit. There we go. So we're just coming back now.
Trapping the finger.
Yeah, we couldn't get it off last time. If you remember, once we had to slightly slide the actual rear differential out of it as we came along.
Right, so it's time for undoing the
it's
brakes
very
and stuff.
Difficult to see, but the wire that I was on about is just up there. I don't know if you want to get the camera and just show them.
Holdex.
The Holdex control unit. The wire is just here, sits over the top. The plug comes back to front at you, and it's one of the nasty VW style setups where you have to push the back pin down and pull it off. They can be very tight, so it's just easier to lower the setup a slight bit so you actually get your full hand in there to disconnect.
Right, so now we're going to try and undo the rear trailing arms, and there should be a 16.
Yes, they are a 16. These ones are quite considerably better by the looks of it than the last ones we did.
Yeah, we had to get creative on the last ones.
And just...
And it's 4 bolts.
Straight out.
We've got the same on the other side, 16s again. Hopefully Colin puts it on the right way this time and don't hammer the tool through the middle of it. Get some Colin proof tools. Right, that's the rear trailing arms bolts out. And now we need to remove the shock from the rear hub. And that's just another thing out of the way then. This is a 22mm bolt now. 22 going in.
The other good thing with obviously removing the springs is it gives you better access to the shocker bolts.
Right, so we're undoing the brake caliper lines now. What size are them, Carl? The 11s?
They're 11s. Most generic brake lines are 11mm. We're just using a normal spanner here, but you can get the proper brake line spanners, which curl right way round and are more 6-sided with a cutout.
Which I do have, but Colin decided to use a normal one.
I've just found this one, and if it works, unfortunately. Now, the S3, we've noticed when we was having a look around earlier on to see what the difference in setup is. Although they're very much alike, there are certain differences. The S3 we did the other day had like 2 joins on the brake lines on the offside, sorry, the near side, and one went all the way across the subframe to the offside, whereas this has got individual lines. So you might find certain differences in what we're showing you to do that are just different specifications and different models. Okay. Right, I'm a bit late on doing this. I should have done this a bit sooner, but we have a brake line locking tool, which just basically stops the feed of brake fluid leaking out whilst you're trying to do the job. It will make your job bleeding it back up a lot harder. So we're just going to lock it off and stop the flow of brake fluid, which should make it a lot easier when it comes time to bleed the brakes again.
And if you haven't got one of them,
you can just alternatively use a set of long nozzle pliers. Just be very careful. You can collapse the pipes, so just be very careful and vigilant with how much pressure you apply to the actual pipe itself.
Right, so I've gone round and I've undone the 4 subframe bolts. They're 18mm. So these are all undone now. Another one up here somewhere. There he is. Hiding in the bowels. And another one up there. So they're undone. My DeWalt gun is a bit of a pussy, so I'm going to be investing in one of these bad boys because that made light work of them, whereas this did 2 and the rest struggled. Colin's took that one out already. So that's the 4 subframe bolts out. So this should be ready to drop. In theory.
If you remember earlier on in the video, I showed you there's one awkward wire that is really hard to get at. So now we need to try and bring it away slightly enough just so that I can actually physically get at that wire. So I've got to be very careful now so as not to over pull the wire. That's it, that's better. I can get my hand up there now. Got enough give in the wire.
For the Haldex controller.
Have a little pick, please, Carl.
You pick at me all the time, Carl. Yeah. You got him or what?
Oh, she's very fiddly. I'm just trying to get me.
You can see it, but there's a.
Here we go. We've also got.
There's a bar over the top.
Let's have a look here now a second. We've also got, which we didn't on the last one. Fixed. That's fixed. That one is.
I can't see no Xenon adjusters on this, or down your side.
There's none on this particular vehicle. I noticed that early on as one of the differences. There are actually no, this must have the base model headlights in it.
Which is not made too much of a rod for our back because we would have had to probably wire that in. Had to make some, like a little pivot because the plastic had sheared off on the old one, on the S3 that we did. I had to make a little ball and socket set.
Can we lower down very fractionally again if we can, just try and give me a little bit more hand room.
She's on this bolt
we
here.
are caught against something here, yes.
Right.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Just back for a second. Right.
It's a subframe free. I'll try and get out of you guys' way. No one wants to see the back of my head. What do you need now?
I'm going to see how much give I've got a minute, see how far I can come down. One step, right. Okay, that gives me a little bit more hand room.
If you've got the pick, I could probably get it from here myself.
Like I say, these plugs on the VWs are very, very tricky plugs. They're not the best design.
You've also got some little keepers that keep the wire strapped to the...
That's holding the asphalt control units, that is. So now we're at that point. Now we can just... So we've got the wire off now. We're out of the cups here.
We need to pull the trailing arm out of here. If it gets stuck, put behind the sill. You go your way a bit, Carl.
Okay. We're out of there. Is it loose as such?
It's stuck.
Right, my one's out my side, so if you let me come around that side a second.
You come around this side. To me, to you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Just have one last quick check over the top. All the wires are disconnected. I'm just going to bring it down slightly, Carl, which will then help us get the arms out. Now, we are attaching what
on the side skirt.
A couple of plastic liners, which are getting in our way a little bit. So that's that one. Right, you want to switch sides again?
Yeah.
And I'll get this side out. You just keep the support. I've got what have we got there? Right, here we go. It was a little bit hidden, but you can see them now.
Where we have the subframe removed from the vehicle. And I don't know whether you can tell, but the subframe's actually split in a few places where the bush goes through, because it's an aluminium bush. Then you get metal corrosion, where the aluminium reacts with the steel and all hell breaks loose. So, what's next?
Next for port of call is, and we know this is heavy from the last one we had to take off. We couldn't lift it with the two of us off the stand, so we used the engine crane to lift it off.
Yeah, so let's hook this up. Right, so now, because this thing weighs an absolute shit ton, we're going to use the engine crane and try and utilise that to take the weight of it so we can get it off the transmission stand. And this is a load leveller. Some of you may have one, some of you may not. Hopefully it's going to do us a favour. Probably won't, but it is what it is. Might work. Got these bottom holes here. If I can get a bolt through, which I can. Can you get it through there, Carl?
I can try.
Swings it the wrong way, but it is what it is.
You're on the first hole or the second hole?
The smaller one. Doesn't really matter.
Right, okay.
On that one.
I'll just extend this out a little bit. Just give me a bit of give.
The aim is to work smarter, not harder. You through?
No.
No. So look.
It's too... It won't come down low enough. I've not done that as much as I can.
Do the overall one. We're going there either. Got a longer bolt there. Right, so Colin has just got the blowtorch out and heated this snapped bolt out, and we should be able to remove it now. And that's one of the diff mounts. So if something like this happens, heat's always the answer.
Luckily we haven't had to centralise drill it, try and get a retractor in. We managed to get the upper cup off, which has allowed us, well, that's a bit hot, but yeah, that's allowed us to get a bit of access to it.
And what we're going to do is going to use the bolt from the old subframe, and that's going to serve as the bolt that's going to go through there and hold it in place. So what we've got to do now is strip the anti-roll bar off. Sorry if you can hear my horse in the background going mental. His girlfriend's just gone out for a ride. We don't actually need these bits, which are your Xenon levelers, so we can remove these brackets, so give us a little bit more room. And yeah, let's get to it. Colin's now undoing the anti-roll bar bush, removing that from the car because, as you can see, someone's hacked it off. So we'll probably need to reuse these bushes because the old ones don't look the best, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Better remove the handbrake cables from the replacement subframe. They are T30s. I forgot to mention the adjusters for the Xenons and brackets were T25s. Voila.
Right, so next of all, because we're going to utilise, because they've snapped obviously the ABS sensors and everything, and we don't really want to mess about with the camber bolts on the inners, so we're going to disconnect the whole hub with the actual drive shaft at the bolting point and remove both them sections. Then we'll utilise the already built up sections that are on the old axle to the hub, disconnect them as well, and then we can transfer over the diff from the one to the other to start off with before reassembling.
Right, so I'm going to undo this trailing arm because the bushes don't look the best, and this should be an 18.
We can leave that on.
We're leaving this on?
Yeah, we can leave it on. We're going to pull that with the actual old unit on that one anyway.
Okay, so what am I undoing off here then?
So we need to undo the 18s here first.
Yeah.
So if you go to the back there. It's stuck. Hold you a little bit of a wiggle jiggle.
Trailing arm, it's a 21mm. Spatting out. Oh, that's just stuck. Give me a minute to get this out of the way. Bottom one, sauce in the way. It's going to be a 22 or something now, isn't it?
21 again.
21 again. It's exhaust in the way.
Flip it forwards. I'll try and get it from the back because that socket won't go on.
Ow. Well, that's tight.
Just put your foot on there. Give it a kick.
Nope. It's destroyed. That's how tight it is. It's destroyed my Rolson spanner. Good old Rolson. Well, was good old Rolson. So I'm gonna have to get creative, I think. Gone for a socket. See you twist this fucker up. I don't like that old, is it?
Exactly what you did there.
Kicking you off.
Yeah. Socket on. Very crucial, there's one washer that's in between. Make sure that washer goes back in between.
Get this out of the way. On to the next side.
On to the next side. Right, so we've got the subframe that's being replaced and put into place, all stripped down now. That's basically what we're going to use based on the better condition of the bushes, because the customer hasn't wanted all new bushes fitted all round, and also not tampering with the actual camber marks either for the setup, which will mean until they get it actually properly tracked, it won't be too far out, so it won't cause too much damage on their back tyres until they go and get it done. So time to get the other one stripped down now.
Right, so Colin's doing the opposite that we did on the replacement subframe. So he's taken off the rear trailing arms and the hubs, etc. And I'm going to start undoing the diff, well, the dry shafts from the diff, which are the V8 tools, the multi-splines. And yeah, we're going to try and pull them out in one, try not to make too much of a mess of it. And they're covered in oil. You going to spin? Yep, she's going to spin. Put it a bit too far. So I'll extract these now and should be able to pop this drive shaft cup off the diff. So when you undo the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drive shaft bolts, you've got these little collet things on the outside. Give it a little cheeky tap with the hammer and it should just drop down off the diff. I'm going to have a go at trying to get the anti-roll bar drop links off. So I put a set of mole grips onto the back end and there's a 16mm nut on the opposite end. So hopefully with a bit of luck be able to get them off in one piece. But I can't see it happening. They never usually come apart and you usually have to cut them off. Hence why we got new ones, which we will be using anyway, but I don't really want to be getting the grinder out if I don't have to. Is that spinning on the back end of that coil? You see? It's doing anything, is it? Nah.
Like it's spinning. So.
Is it actually doing anything?
It does look like it's releasing it. Hard to say. No, centre spinning. Right, I think.
So it looks like we're gonna have to get the grinder out. Right, so we're taking the diff off now, so we're undone one. These are V14s multi-spline, and you want to get as much squirt juice, WD-40 or whatever you want to use, into the every orifice. This one looked a bit on the rough side, but she's worked and she's out. So we'll take that as a win. And there's one more on the other side we need to undo. And we'll flip it over and get onto that now. Right, before we take this off, we're going to undo this bracket here which holds the rear torsion bars on for for the cabriolet, the extra protection, extra handling, or whatever it's supposed to do. These are 16mm, they've got to come off. It's Collins on now. The captive nut's just snapped, doesn't it? The captive nut on that one.
It has.
The idea of taking this off is so we can get some access to the diff.
Oh, we have. We're putting the captive nut on this one.
That's cabbage, that one is.
Luckily, we can't.
And that's the diff free. So now we've got to transfer everything over to the new rear subframe, and should be jobs are good and ready to fit back on the car. Put the gun. This way.
Keep it over that way.
That's the new rear subframe. Got the diff mounted, and we're actually going to fit it as it is, then bolt everything else to it. I mean, we did it the other way, dropped the whole lot the first time round, but I think the quickest way now to get it back on the car and not messing around with it for too long is actually fit the rear subframe, then bolt the trailing arms and the hubs and everything on while it's in situ. So let's get to it.
Slightly over, so we do need to.
Oh, yeah, fucker!
Sorry, mate.
Ow.
I didn't realise you left it in.
It's a good job I've got a fucking hard head.
Right. Okay. Get me in the centre.
Fucking hell. Fucking kilogram of bolt just bounced off me fucking bumps. I do my own stunts. These 18s go back in. winning. Colin's just lifting the rear trailing arm up into position. Time for the bolts for them. Getting the trailing arm bolts in, there's 4 small 16s. This is through. Shock bolts going in. Drive shaft bolts back in. So we can get right now to get to them. So the gun's going to get out. Off from there, I think. Stuck. Spring in.
Doesn't.
Doing the brake line back up. ABS sensor in now. Click. Trying to build the other side up.
We'll lift that minute car for a second. Lift it a second. Need a try. Might alter the route around a minute.
Mil going in now for the lower roll arm.
Top box will be tightened.
So I've got a brake line to sort out. This side brake line snapped off, so we need to make a new one, which we'll show you how to do it. Happened twice on the S3, so with that now. Brake keeper's going back in, which is a T30. Colin's just done the handbrake cable up here and attached this back to the pivot arm on the caliper. Apparently I missed the hole, so I won't this time. Thought Colin to put it in there. Can't get the staff, can I? Right, now it's tight.
Now you've got it.
Now I got it. Right then, we're about to make a new brake line because, as I said, the one on the driver's side rear caliper is quite short. It's about 100 mil long, and they snap when you try and extract them. So the two ends are different. Don't ask me what thread they are, but I know one that goes in the caliper is bigger than the one that goes into the line on the car. So yeah, so to take that into account, one big one, one small one. Best off going to your motor factors when you break one, because you will break one, no doubt, because it always seems to happen. And take the two ends with you and then just marry them up and match them up. So Colin's just cutting the brake line now. What are they, 6 mil brake lines? Did it tell you on the front of the bag?
I don't know. I think they're about a
so look on the front of the
4
bag.
mil, something like that. Not quite 6 mil.
Seamless 22 gauge.
So we 4.76 millimetre outer,
16 inch.
3/16 inner. Right.
So Colin's got his little flaring tool now. He's got to flare two ends on and then do a little bend.
I'll put the flare tool down just there a minute. What we're going to do, because it's such a short pipe, I need to be able to get onto both.
So you put the pipe in this little tool here. You can get them off Amazon. I don't know where you got yours from, but I've seen them on Amazon.
Yeah, this one come off Snap-on because he does sell.
Yeah, Snap-on because
he does sell the odd few tools that aren't proper Snap-on.
Colin's a member of the Illuminati. You can afford Snap-on shit. And he put his little flaring tool in there now and tighten it up.
Always try and outward flare them slightly, just because it gives it a lot better inner flare when you're ready to do the inner.
Take your pick which one you want to go first, big end or little end. Makes no odds, does it?
No. Get it the outer done first. The outer sorted. Yeah.
You can put a ratchet on that, by the way. He's just lazy.
I am just lazy and I can't be bothered to run to go grab a tool if I've got something near me that works. But as long as the job gets done, that's all that matters.
Luckily, we only had to make one little brake hose at this time, and not the whole one which goes over the rear subframe like we did on the S3. Then making this section as well.
Not the greatest, but she will work. Try and get a cleaner one on this side. She will work with a crush. One way.
One the other.
Flip reverse.
Try not to fuck this side up, Carl.
We'll try and get a cleaner on this side for you, but I've been doing this quite a few years now, so I know roughly what I can get away with and what I can't get away with before I have to start chopping everything back down and restarting again.
Like a true pro. I'm taking the piss here. Every time I've tried to make a brake line, I've ended up fucking it up, so I can't really complain.
I'm not happy with the distance on that one. It's not going to get enough good enough crimp on it. I will just feed that back through a little bit if we can. That's a bit better.
So basically it's tightening the two little ends together to make one crush onto the pipe. Stops it from sliding out.
Still not perfect, but a lot better than the opposite side, but still utilisable. These are very awkward to make.
Utilisable, that's the fucking first.
It's always awkward making brake lines from scratch. Obviously we don't have all the equipment they do in the actual main manufacturers. Well, not a bad little dome, to be fair. It's quite.
We'll use it. We'll see how we get on. Let's go over to the car.
One, just maybe a bit too much feed. Now I'll show you why it's so awkward is because we've got to get from there to there. Now, it's very awkward.
Get that one in, that's the big end one.
It's very awkward to measure these, sorry. So, And if we over crimp it or over bend it, it won't get any flow. So it's
bit of manhandling and manipulation going on.
Try and bend such a tiny piece of pipe to suit. It is very much awkward. You can just buy these little link pipes, I believe, but
they're shit.
Pretty much nobody stocks them, so you have to order them, and if you want to get the job done in and out in a day, it is more advisable if you know how to make brake lines. And then that way you're not stuck waiting for replacement brake lines arriving. And
many moments later.
That's that. That size is bigger, isn't it? Is that a 13 or something?
Yeah, it's 13, I think.
Not a 13.
So while he's going to find a 13, this is the little shit bag of a pipe we have to make. And it seems to be a common theme on these cars when doing this job. So yeah. Right, new subframes on, the aluminium one. Rear trailing arm, all the brakes, everything's all done. We just cracked the brake nipples to let some of the air out. We've got to put the exhaust on. We put the anti-roll bar on. As my battery is dying on the camera, decided to put the rear anti-roll bar on and the drop links, which is it's not really rocket science to do that, so I don't think you really need the tutorial. This brace doesn't belong on this car, so we need to get creative with the braces which come along here. We're going to have to see what we're going to do with that. But now it's time to put the exhaust on and get that hung. And yeah, not far away. There's not a lot to it step by step. It's just a pain in the arse. There's a few things that you need to like figure out, and everything will be seized, but it's definitely doable, as you can see. So let's get to putting the exhaust on. I might need to make another hanger. I might not, but I'd rather not. But if I do, I will, and all that jazz. So let's get to it, Cole.
Over.
Oopsie daisy.
She's a big old centre section. I'm going to have to take that end.
Right, it's time to try and figure out what we're going to do with these braces. As you can see, there's no bracketry there for it to fit to this piece here, so we might have to drill a hole in here and then just bolt it up. But thankfully it's aluminium, so, or if you're in America, aluminum, or whatever you call it. But if that's the way it's aiming, it ain't going back on. So, because there's literally nothing for this to go to. And it's going to probably foul the exhaust. So, yeah, that's not going on. Simple as that. I'm a fabricator, but it seems like more trouble than it's worth, to be honest.
No.
I mean, he's not a rally driver, he doesn't race around anywhere. Main thing is he wants to pass MOT, so that he should do now, without his subframe hanging off. But yeah, I thought that these would be more pointed towards this, where we could actually drill or make a rudimentary bracket for it, but doesn't seem to want to play ball. But see how he drives it, see if he notices a difference. If he does, I'll probably modify the brackets more to aim towards this and go from there. But yeah, not far now. We've just got to bleed the brakes, put the wheels on, and hopefully this job's a gunning. Winning. That's the TT finished. All buttoned up, everything's all tightened up. We've bled the brakes. My battery's running a bit low, as I mentioned on the camera. And yeah, job's a good one. The customer will let me know what it feels like, whether them braces are needed. Perhaps he needs to come back and maybe have a set of modified ones made, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Colin, anything to add?
Not really, just like Brad, obviously, like if you're planning to do it at home, just know everything is, no matter which way around you do it, quite a heavy setup. One man off a jack would probably be near on impossible unless you really was willing to struggle, and you need a really good tool set around you to do the job.
So on that note, hope this video helps, and we'll see you on the next one. Adios.